Hello students, you are with Bindu Chaudhary and we are pursuing our social science class, and in this class we are taking chapter 7th. Yes, civilizing the native, educating the nation. Today we are covering its part 4th, and in this part 4th we are covering question answer sessions. But what about chapter reading? Had you recall everything in your mind? Yes, what happened in our chapter reading session? New education policy adopted by us. Who imposed? As per Charles Wood Dispatch, as per Macaulay, as per other thinkers, as Colebrook, as Thomas, as junior judge of the court, Supreme Court of Calcutta. He was so much linguistic, but as per that person, as per Jones, as per Colebrook, as per Thomas, they wanted to oriental our education system. They wanted to oriental our education system with the manuscripts, with the traditional, with the cultural, with the other books, other helpful guidelines of the things of only Indian. But after this, Macaulay opposed all these things. Yes, Macaulay thought that it is only the wasting of money and time. He wanted to educate Indian peoples in English in missionaries school. The main aim is to develop more and more clerks for the East India Company's work. That's why Macaulay opposed this Oriental education system. And after Wood's dispatch system, as per the names of the Charles Wood, new education policy developed new colleges as madrasas, and in Banaras Hindu College. And what happened? Many universities were also opened in Madras, Bombay and Calcutta, not in Meerut, not in Delhi, because on that time sepoys rolled a revolt. So new education system also wanted to help in our new education policy as new English speaking and writing. But why not speaking is so much imposed in Indians? Because they need only reading and writing. So the main thing is our oral education system lost, and the traditional and cultural education system lost as per the missionary system. And Mahatma Gandhi opposed this system. He opposed that these pathshalas, the new missionaries schools, only took a new categories of the civilized as per the Western civilization. They imposed Western civilization to all of the Indians, and all of the Indians felt inferiority in themselves. So first of all, they pride on themselves that they had a good culture and traditions. But after the implementation of the Western education policy in India, these Indians felt very inferiority complex in themselves, and Mahatma Gandhi opposed all these things. Mahatma Gandhi always opposed, but Tagore also opposed. But the main differences of Mahatma Gandhi and Tagore is that Tagore thought that it's okay, you are in a art way, you are in cultural classes, you are in dance classes, but overall in these classes you also wanted to take a knowledge of what? Yes, as per Tagore, he wanted that science and technologies also developed in the schools, and in Shanti Niketan Math also. He developed a Shanti Niketan Math, and in these maths or in these schools and universities, not only our cultural, our traditional studies going on, as well as science and technologies, new modern studies were also going on. Hope you recall everything. So we are starting our question answer session here. First question is here, match the following. See, William Jones. Who was William Jones? Let's think here. Critical of English education or promotion of English education. Rabindranath Tagore is related with whom? He was a respect for ancient cultures, or he was a guru. Thomas Macaulay, Mahatma Gandhi and Pathshala. So we will match these things here one by one. About William Jones, who was the junior judge in the Supreme Court and who first came to Calcutta in India and who was so much linguistic, English, Greek, Persian as well as subtitles of the Pandits knowledge. Yes, हमारे यहाँ के जितने भी पंडित्स के द्वारा जो श्लोक्स बोले जाते हैं, he chanted everything. He was so much linguistic. So विलियम जॉन्स मैचिंग क्या जा रही है यहाँ पे, रेस्पेक्ट फॉर एंशंट कल्चर्स. ही ऑलवेज रेस्पेक्टेड एंशंट कल्चर्स आल्सो. व्हाट अबाउट रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर? Yes, Rabindranath Tagore, learning in a natural environment. It is the thinking of Rabindranath Tagore that it's okay. New education system is there. You wanted to teach us English medium schools. You wanted to teach English as well as missionaries, but always in a natural environment. He also supported science and technology as well as dance, culture, arts, etc. So, Rabindranath Tagore's match is learning in a natural environment. What about Thomas Macaulay? We had already discussed in our chapter reading session, students. He always promoted English education in India only for the purpose of the clerical entries in the East India companies. See Mahatma Gandhi's role. In this chapter, Mahatma Gandhi was critical of English education. He thought that English education system totally distract our social culture also. बच्चे अपने आप को स्ट्रेंज समझने लग गए थे. पाठशालाज, in पाठशालाज no teachers were there, gurus were there on that time. गुरु जो है वो सिस्टम में एडुकेशन देते थे. Our next question here is state whether it's true or false. First question is here about James Mill. James Mill was a severe critic of the Orientalists. He opposed these Orientalists or not? Yes, James Mill opposed these Orientalists. So this one is true. This statement is totally true. This one is our next statement. The 1854 dispatch on education was in favor of English being introduced as a medium of higher education in India. हमने चार्ल्स वुड्स डिस्पैच सिस्टम का पढ़ा था. हमने पढ़ा था 1854 में चार्ल्स वुड ने जो हमारे यहाँ पे सिस्टम दिया, दैट वॉज कॉल्ड एज पर हिज नेम Charles Wood's dispatch or Wood's dispatch. So he imposed English in higher education system. So this statement is totally true here, students. एकदम सही कह रहे हैं ये. Next here is Mahatma Gandhi's thoughts. Mahatma Gandhi thought that the promotion of literacy was the most important aim of education. Why you are implementing English education in India? First of all, the main aim is of literacy rate, increasing literacy rate. So this statement is totally false. He was not thinking of that thing. Literacy is totally a different thing and education is totally a different thing. Literacy में तो आप देखिए हर बच्चे को, हर पेरेंट्स को, हर व्यक्ति को शिक्षित करना ज़रूरी होता है. बट महात्मा गांधी अपोज्ड इंग्लिश मिशनरीज स्टडीज इम्पोज्ड इन आवर पाठशालाज. रेगुलर टाइम टेबल, रेगुलर रूटीन टाइम टेबल, न्यू एग्जामिनेशन पॉलिसीज. सो ही अपोज्ड ऑल दीज थिंग्स, नॉट ही प्रमोट लिटरेसी इन इंडिया. Our next question is based on Rabindranath Tagore's feelings. Rabindranath Tagore felt that children ought to be subjected to strict discipline. Is it true, students, or not? No, it's not truly. Rabindranath Tagore felt that education is necessary. Not only cultural, not only dance, not only art education is compulsory, as well as science and technology is also compulsory, but in a natural surroundings. So this statement is totally false. We are taking here question answer. So our third question is, why did William Jones feel the need to study Indian history, philosophy and law. In the starting, we had read about William Job, a main critic, a main linguistic fellow who came in Calcutta and appointed as a junior judge in the Supreme Court of India. So, here is the answer about him. William Jones came to represent a particular attitude towards India. उनका एक particular attitude था इंडिया के प्रति. He shared a deep respect for ancient cultures, both of India as well as of West. So he was only the person who supported, as well as Colebrook, as well as James Mill, as well as, yes, Thomas also. When we are talking about Jones and Colebrook, Jones and Colebrook felt that India had attained its glory in the ancient past. Yes, India had a lot of things as to feel proud in our glorious past. So, Jones and Colebrook also felt the same one here. It declined later on. In order to understand India, it was necessary to discover the sacred and legal texts produced in the past. So, Jones as well as Colebrook felt that it's okay, everything of past of Indians manuscripts, Indian books also necessary and also produced a sacred life and legal text of that time. But these people's proposal, these people's thinkings totally declined by the new education policy under British rule. These texts would reveal the ideas and laws of Hindus and Muslims who would form the basis of future development, because Jones already studied about all these things, as well as Colebrook and other ones studied, and they reveal the ideas and laws of Hindus as well as Muslims in our ancient India. What happened? Hindus respected Muslim laws, Muslims thinkings, Muslims culture, and Muslims always praised about the Hindus. That's why we felt pride in the past. So here also we feel so much proud in our present also, because in present India also we are united. Yes, in maybe Hindus, maybe Muslims, maybe Sikhs, maybe Isais, we all are united here. So on that time these texts would reveal, as per the Jones, as per Colebrook's, they thought that our Hindus laws, our Muslim laws and other things reveal all the ideas on based on the future development for the purpose of the Indian people. Jones and Colebrook believed that their project would help the British learn from Indian culture. See the thinkings of Jones and Colebrook, not of Macaulay and Charles Wood. These people thought that the project would help Britishers to learn about the Indian culture. That's why they studied the Indian cultures and concepts. Indian will also rediscover their own heritage. Not only British learned from Indian culture, they thought that Indians also rediscover their own heritage. In this way, the British would become guardians and masters of Indian culture. Yes, as per these critics' studies in our traditional and cultural India's matter, we feel proud that these are the guardians and masters of Indian culture, because they oriented all our culture in one thing, one based. Here is our next question. Why did James Mill and Thomas Macaulay think that European education was essential in India? It's okay. James Mill and Macaulay, we had already studied about these two fellows. What about the thinking? Why they wanted to impose European education system here? Why they thought that it was essential for the purpose of the India? See here. जेम्स मील वॉज द स्ट्रोंगेस्ट क्रिटिक ऑफ द ओरिएंटलिस्ट। जब हम देखते हैं जॉन्स का और हम देखते हैं कोलब्रुक का कि कोलब्रुक और जॉन्स क्या कर रहे थे, हमारे इंडियन सिस्टम में जो भी हमारी मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट थी, बुक्स थी, जो भी हमारे श्लोक्स वगैरह थे, उन सब का ओरिएंटेशन कर रहे थे। ऑन दैट टाइम जेम्स मील वॉज द स्ट्रोंगेस्ट क्रिटिक अबाउट दीज ओरिएंटलिस्ट्स। He declared that the British should not teach what the natives wanted or what they respected in order to please them and win a place in their heart. So James Mill opposed. He thought that these teachings of natives, we should not wanted all these things. Why we respect what they respected, why that is necessary to us. There is no necessity of their respective things, of their respective knowledge, because we have so much Western people, European people have so much knowledge instead of Indian peoples. Indians should be made familiar with the scientific and technical advances that the West had made. That's why James Mill opposed our cultural policies. He thought that Indians should be more familiar about the scientific and technical advances that the West had already made and not the sacred literature of the Orient. हमारे यहाँ के जो लिटरेचर है उसके बारे में जेम्स मिल अपोज करते हैं। वो कहते हैं नो नीड ऑफ दीज लिटरेचर्स, you had to have scientific and technical knowledge of the things. Macaulay also asked the British government in India to stop wasting public money in promoting Oriental learning, for it had no practical use. So Macaulay as well as James Mill opposed all these things. Macaulay felt that knowledge of English would allow Indians to read some of the finest literature the world had produced. Macaulay's thinking was that if Indians taught in English, so what happened? These Indians allowed to read the finest literature which was in all over the world had. They will study that when, and it would make them aware of the development in Western science and philosophies, how much changes took place in the Western areas about the science and about the technologies and about the philosophies, about the literature. So the Macaulay thought that if we taught them in English, then only Indian people realize the importance of Western culture, Western science, Western philosophy, Western literature which was spreaded in all over the world. The teaching of English could thus be a way of civilizing people, changing their taste, values and culture. That's why Macaulay thought that English missionaries school compulsory on that time, because he thought that this one is the media of civilizing Indian peoples, changing Indian people's taste and their values as well as their culture. This one is the thoughts of Macaulay and James Mill. What about Mahatma Gandhi? See here, our next question is taking Mahatma Gandhi's concept of teaching. Why did Mahatma Gandhi want to teach children's handicrafts? Handicrafts की शिक्षा देनी चाहिए. Why he thought this one? See here in our answer session. Mahatma Gandhi wanted to teach children handicraft because of the following reasons. The first main reason was that people would work with their hands. Yes, main innovation, main thing wanted by Mahatma Gandhi is that if people had to work, so they need to have a knowledge of handicraft. That's why he supported this one. The craft would develop their minds also. आप देखिए, आपको एक ड्राइंग बनानी है तो ड्राइंग में क्रिएटिविटी लाने के लिए आप क्या करेंगे? नेचुरल प्लेस पे जाएंगे बच्चों. आप क्या करेंगे? आपको सीनरीज बनानी है तो आपको पहले ही दिमाग में याद आता होगा कि हाउ यू डेवलप दिस वन आपने हट बनाया इन द स्टार्टिंग, देन आपने यहाँ पे सूरज को बनाया, आपने यहाँ पे माउंटेन्स बनाए एंड स्पेशली चिड़िया उड़ती हुई दिखाई. सो नेचुरल थिंग्स इज देयर. That's why Mahatma Gandhi also thought that if these crafts would develop the minds of the children, it would also develop their capacities to understand also, because in the natural ways, because in the pure way, children could understand easily what they need to do everything. This question is about English education system in India on that time as per Mahatma Gandhi's views. Why did Mahatma Gandhi think that English education had enslaved Indians? Why he thought that English education enslaved Indians? One by one we are covering in our answer also. According to Mahatma Gandhi, colonial education created a sense of inferiority in the minds of Indians, because before this system we felt pride in our culture, in our traditions, but after the implementation of new education system, new education western policy systems, what happened? We felt inferiority in our minds. He said that it made them see Western civilization as superior, which destroys the pride they had in their own culture. So the main point is to oppose the new education policy. He said that it was sinful, it enslaved Indians, it cast an evil spell on them. That's why Mahatma Gandhi opposed new education system in India. He thought that, charmed by the West, appreciating everything that came from the West, Indian educated in these institutions admire British rule. See what happened in the new education system of that time. As per Mahatma Gandhi observed in that area that all these Western education always inspired our Indians to felt proud to admire British rule in India. They didn't oppose British rule in India. So Mahatma Gandhi so much affected by their minds, and that's why he opposed all these things. Next one is Mahatma Gandhi wanted an education that could help Indians recover their sense of dignity and self-respect. It's okay, we were not in a position after English missionaries school that we felt pride. We had some dignity also, we had some self-respect also. So Mahatma Gandhi opposed this new education policy and he wanted to recover the sense of the dignity and self-respect in Indians. Mahatma Gandhi strongly was in favor of Indian languages to be the medium of teaching, because he thought that in our local languages children pick up very easily in a very proper way, not in the missionaries school, not in English or Western medium schools. So he opposed all these things. He wanted to impose the local Indian languages for the medium of teaching in schools. Next point is about education in English crippled Indians and distance them from their own social surroundings. बच्चा जो है अपनी खुद के सामाजिक दायरे में भी बहुत अनजानापन महसूस कर रहा था, क्योंकि स्कूलों में क्या सिखाया जा रहा था? इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूलों में अलग एजुकेशन दी जा रही थी. उनके पेरेंट्स, उनके गार्जियंस, दे वर नॉट एजुकेटेड, सो लॉट ऑफ गैप came in the social surroundings in that time. This made them strangers in their own land. उनको खुद को अपनी ही ज़मीन पे strangers लगने, अनजान लोगों की अनुभूति होने लग गई थी. Speaking a foreign tongue or language despised local culture of the students, because they also feeling proud in speaking English, but they don't know that they totally spared themselves from their social lives. Next important point is Mahatma Gandhi further said that Western education focused on reading and writing rather than oral knowledge. So he wanted that oral knowledge is also compulsory as well as reading and writing. But missionaries always imposed reading and writing method, not in the proper oral knowledge in ourselves. So it evaluates textbooks rather than life experience and practical knowledge. That's why Mahatma Gandhi refused to accept this new system of education policy, because he thought that textbooks valued by the Britishers. So he opposed, he thought that life experience and practical knowledge is also the first need to develop their minds, to develop their knowledge. He said education should develop a person's mind and soul. Because of the education, as per Mahatma Gandhi's thoughts, person's mind and soul will be developed. And if you have no proper education system, then how the person's mind and soul will be affected? Literacy, or simply learning to read and write, by itself did not count as education. यहाँ पे सबसे बड़ा महात्मा गांधी ने क्या जोड़ दिया बच्चों? महात्मा गांधी सोचते थे कि इट्स ओके, रीडिंग एंड राइटिंग इज नॉट टोटली सफिशिएंट बिकॉज इट itself is not a point of literacy. He counted this one not in the basis of education. People had to work with their hands and learn a craft. As per Mahatma Gandhi, he thought that it's okay, reading and writing is there, but why not a practical knowledge is there? Why not a knowledge of hands and learn a craft is there? They should know how different things operated by themselves if they had to learn about these crafts and skills and hand work mates. अब देखिए, वो खुद चरखा चलाते थे, उनको लगता था बच्चों को ऐसा भी शिक्षा देना चाहिए जिससे कि बच्चे का जो खुद का डेवलपमेंट है वह हो सके. This one is our last question here. This question related to your grandparents. Yes, find out from your grandparents about what they studied in school. अपने ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स से आपको पूछना है कि उन्होंने स्कूलों में क्या चीज़ रीडिंग किया था. सी हेयर इन द आंसर: उर्दू और हिंदी लैंग्वेज, मैथमेटिक्स एज वेल एज social studies and drawing. So this one is the main reading by the schools on that time by your grandparents. आप भी अपने grandparents से पूछिए कि उनको इनके अलावा भी और कोई education system से कोई और study, कोई और subject पढ़ने को मिला था क्या. Hope you understand all these question answer session. So it's your work to start, write in your copies and learn them one by one. Okay, we will meet in our new video. Have a nice day. Tuned with us.